How shall we start this?
Do we not start every podcast with like, hi, I'm Helen Tudor and this is the Ideal Client Attraction Podcast, or not? You can have that. Done. Rocking and rolling, let's go.
And we're back.
We are back.
Consistency.
Boring. No one cares about consistency. This is going to be the least listened to podcast episode ever because I was like, ugh, gross. It's like no one wants to think about it, talk about it. To be honest, I don't want to be consistent because I like to think I'm a free spirit who can do what I want. But consistency is a commitment. So if we wind it back into any business owner I meet anywhere, anytime, any place, this is the process I'd go through with them. How much money do you want to earn a month? Not how much you need to earn, how much do you want to earn? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can expand on that. Like, what does that mean? What's that going to feel like? What stupid shit are you going to buy? You know, and we can get them to double it and then put a note on the end and we can expand things, right? But let's say we come to a number, right? I want to earn X amount per month and I know what that's going to mean for me. Great. What is the offer that you're putting out? Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is my offer. It's X, Y, Z. Yeah, whatever. I need to sell 10 of these things at $1,000 a month and it's 10 grand just for easy maths. Great. And who's your ideal client? And if they've worked with me, they'll know. Mm-hmm. They'll say, right, well, my ideal client avatar, not the only person I'm ever going to work with, my ideal client avatar right now is Gemma and she's 47 and she's this and this. Like, great. Yeah, we've got something to work with. Then we talk about the practice, you know, connecting in with yourself, with the client and the offer, right? So every day you're connecting in with yourself. Who am I? How am I feeling? What do I need today? Connecting in with the client. Hi, Gemma. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What do you need to hear from me today? And the offer. Is this the thing that I really, truly want to sell? Does it feel good? Is it the right thing for me, right? So once we've got all that, it's like, okay, great. So now how are we going to go and above the line strategically attract clients? So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to post consistently on social media. At least one channel, right? People are like,
Don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Like, I want the result. I want the 10 grand a month. So when I say about posting consistently on social media, so obviously I've taught LinkedIn for years.
Just this. If you've done all of those things up to that point that you are the advocate of, really. Yeah. And you're what I can't get in my head here is, if you get there, why would consistency be a thing, really, at that point? You know, if the work has been done.
Because we've all been sold a dream, haven't we? That we can just show up when we feel like it and it'll all magically happen. Yeah. Yeah, particularly in the manifesting world, right? But the consistency is so important. And what happens with consistency and showing up every day, showing up for your business when you feel like it and when you don't feel like it, that's the important bit, and making a commitment to yourself, to your business, to your client, and to the future version of you, so that 10K a month version of you, is that it's going to feel really hard and it's going to get real boring. And it's going to feel like, as much as I'm an advocate of, you know, have fun and enjoy and post and be consistent. But some days you're going to have to grind it out.
Alex Sormosi talks about this a lot, don't he? About that, he's a big advocate. You know, a lot of the stuff is a bit boring.
Yeah, Matt Robbins talks about this. It's like doing the reps. You know, you don't go to the gym and lift a couple of weights. Suddenly you've got muscles. You've got to do it and nothing happens for ages. So you're like, this gym thing isn't working. I'm lifting up the weights and putting them down again and I haven't got muscles yet. When is it going to happen? And it's the same with social media. It's the same with marketing. It's like, I'm doing the things and nothing's happening yet. Like, people join my program and be like, I've not got a client yet. I'm like, you've been on LinkedIn for 5 minutes. Like
3 posts.
Yeah, your things are grand. What would you say to your granny who said, I've met this woman on the internet and she wants me to give her $1,000? You'd be like, no, granny. Yeah. Don't do that. You don't know that person. That's not the right thing to do. It's like, we've lost our minds with it. So with showing up consistently, when we get into the energy of we show up consistently, no matter how we feel or what reactions we get. And I think that's the mantra I'd like people to take away. Right. I'm going to show up for my business, for that future version of me, consistently, no matter how I feel and no matter what's going on. Like, even if I post and nothing happens, I'm going to keep posting every day because I've committed to that. Yeah. Yeah, it's accountability, self-accountability. Like, don't join my program for accountability. You got to keep yourself accountable, babe. Like, you're a grown ass adult who wants to earn 10 grand a month. So if you had a job that paid you 10 grand a month, do you get 120 grand a year take home? And they said to you, you've got to show up every day. You're like, well, yeah, it's my job. Yeah. But somehow in business, we've decided that the moon's not in the right place today, and I want to have a self-care day, and I want to have a salt bath, so I'm not going to do anything.
Where's this come from then? Where do you think this disconnect between those two things has?
I think people are just lazy, entitled, triggered, over-emotional.
Right.
Like energetically on the wind. And I am as well, right? That's me. But I still show up for my business because that's how I pay my bills.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I've definitely still got a lot of single mum energy. You know, it's like, if I don't show up for my business, we don't eat.
Yep.
You know, and I think some people could really use some of that. Because now I've got a lovely husband who's got a great business as well. It'd be really easy to be like, well...
To get comfortable.
Yeah. So I do like it when people come to me and are like, I can't pay my rent. Because I'm like, good, we've got something to work with.
It's a motivator, isn't it? Yeah.
So we've got to become self-motivated, and we've just got to be just accepting that some days we're not going to feel like it, but we're going to do it anyway. And we talked in a previous episode about MVP, minimum viable product. And I'm a big fan of this. If you're ill, you're sad, you know, you just broke up with your boyfriend, you know, your cat's just been run over. Like, all of this is bad. Yeah. People get sick. People have horrible things happen. Like, I get it. Yeah. I'm not saying if you have a massive trauma, you should be like, oh, I need to post a selfie. What I'm saying is, even though if you stop posting every time any bad thing happens, you have an argument with one of your kids, you know, like there's a whole spectrum of bad things, right? We still got to show up, because otherwise you're just going to lose momentum, and consistency is momentum, and it's also compounding. So the more you show up consistently, the more you are committed to what you're doing in the business. But from the outside, people see that commitment and they feel, well, you talked about safety, they feel safe that you're going to show up for them in the future.
Yeah.
After they've given you the money.
Yeah, it's like a message of who you are.
We all know these people who show up when they've got something to sell, right?
Yep.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
You know, we could name them. We won't, because we're good people. And this is going to be going out to millions of people. So, you know, but you see it, you know, oh, you got something to sell.
Yeah.
You want something, so you're showing up.
It pisses me off.
It doesn't bother me, because I'm not emotionally attached to other people's content, but like, it's obvious and clear, you know? It's like, and then people come to me and like, I've done a launch and not sold anything. What did you do in between that launch? Well, you know, life got in the way and I just didn't really feel like it. And it's like, well, what do you expect? So I think one of my mantras is show up like you're getting paid $1 million, because one day you will be. So even with things like guest experts, masterclasses, showing up in other people's groups, which is how I built my business in the early days, because it was free and it got me in front of new people. Well, it just cost me my time. Like,
it's good leverage.
It's great leverage, And I still get leads today.
Yeah.
Like Dan Meredith gave me my first break. He gave me my first opportunity. I did a guest expert in Espresso with Dan, and I was so nervous. And it was really funny because it was probably terrible, but I still get leads from it now. Well, and that's over 10 years ago now.
Hats off to Dan, because he gave me my first breaks as well.
Yeah. Lots of love for Dan. Yeah. And I've done hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands now, and I get leads from them all the time. So it's a great strategy when we talk in client attraction strategies. It's a great strategy, but sometimes you show up and there's no one there, apart from the person who owns the group, and they're like, "Oh, we'll record it and we'll put it out to be." But I show up the same for them as I do if I've got 300 people on the live.
Yeah. You know,
and I always have done, and I think that's really important. You know, I'm a drummer. Consistent.
You know, I'm a drummer. Back in the early days, we would play to the headline band.
Yeah.
We would be the sport band. Yeah. There'd be no one else in the venue. And we would give it our all.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's an energetic thing. It's a commitment. It's a consistency. I show up consistently in my energy, in the way, you know, in the time I put, you know, and the volume I put out, sort of thing, you know what I mean? Like, I am consistently delivering, whether it's in my marketing or my delivery or my sales. It's because I think the universe rewards that.
Was there ever a point for you then on your journey where you weren't, not where you was in minimal viable product phase because, you know, life was doing stuff to you? Was there ever a point where you were like, shit, I'm struggling with this consistency thing? Or for you, is it just it's just obvious? I just get on with it. Is you?
So I compare them like going to the gym. Mm-hmm. I will skip the gym because I don't mind being a bit fat.
Right.
But I won't skip my showing up because I do mind being poor.
Right.
Like I'm determined, so determined to never be broke again. That drives me every single day. And I love the gym. And I don't want to be a bit fat, but I have a boundary where I accept that.
You just went somewhere then, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'm looking at you.
I will never
be
broke again.
Yeah,
I've been really fucking broke.
You're thinking of the kids and what that was
like.
Yeah,
I mean, if you followed me for any length of time, you'll have heard this story, but I was with the kids. I remember it was really badly raining. I was in my local shop, Sheila, who still works there now. Right. And, I had been around the shop, had £20. I used to do reflexology, massage. I'd done a massage, got £20 cash, had no money, had no debit cards, credit cards. I was in a debt management plan, or, I was a basic bank account, about 80 grand in personal debt, 90 grand. This is when I'd not opened my post for years that I talked about. Well, I did open my post eventually with my dad. That was fun. And that's when we wrote down with my dad's little capital letters in his little blue pen, and it came to like 89,000 something. I was like, oh, all right, okay. And actually my dad said something really powerful. He said, it's just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, fucking hell. Anyway, but I was in a bad place financially, and I had my £20 and I went around the shop and I'm not very good at maths. Like, I'm terrible at darts, right? So I was like going around and adding it up, and obviously got it wrong. Kids are kicking off, whatever. It's late, I'm tired. And I go to the counter, and Sheila says, there's £26 or whatever. Oh, and I was like, oh God. I live in a really small village. I've lived there all my life.
Yeah.
And then people that I know were in the shop. I can feel myself.
There's that kind of
panic attack start. Yeah, I'm like, my big going all rashy. I'm sweating, the kids. And I was like, I said, I've only got £20. And she said, okay, well, what do you want to put back? And I'm like, well, put the kids' sweets back because we don't really need them. And the kids are going mad. And I was just this feeling of just utter shame and guilt and embarrassment and all of the left quadrant. So I was like deep in my left quadrant, Yeah. And I went and I sat in the car, it was pouring rain, the kids were in the car seats and it was kicking off. And I just remember thinking, that's it. This is it. This is my low point. Like, I can't even afford to feed my kids. And I have to caveat that with my dad has always looked after me. He used to take me shopping and buy me stuff. And, we'd buy all the kids coats and shoes and school uniform. So like, I was very well looked after, but in my family, I've got an uncle that helped me out and bought my house, so I didn't get it repossessed and stuff like that. So I'm very, very, very privileged.
Yeah.
But I just thought, fuck me.
Yeah.
I'm 30 odd years old.
2 kids.
I've got 2 kids.
On your own.
I'm in a shit car that my dad's bought me. I'm on my own. I'm like living like, I used to put, one of the greatest privileges in my life is putting petrol in my car. Even though I don't like doing it as much anymore, but it really is because I don't watch the thing. I put the thing in and I daydream, and when it clicks, I go and pay.
Yeah.
What a gift. Because for years, many, many years, I'd be like,
21, 22, 23.
Yeah. And I'd be like, right, that's £6 petrol.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And then that leaves me £10 for packed lunches. And and like, I just lived that way. And I just remember sitting in the car just thinking, nah, I'm done with that. I'm never, ever going to be here again. And I've never been there again.
And so, to link that then, the reason you are so prolifically bought in with little resistance to your consistency of showing up, putting content out there, doing all of the things that we've been speaking about in these dozen or so episodes, it brings it full circle then, doesn't it? There's a real banger of a driver there, isn't there? Which is, it's not so much, I don't call it stick and carrot, but I think some people want to work towards something. Yeah. Some people want to work away from something. Would you say then your deep driver is this reminder of, I do not want to fucking go back there. This is what I do not want. No, and that's
exactly, no, I'm moving away from it always.
Are you?
I'm moving away from it always. Right, okay. Always.
Yeah.
Like one of my big things for this year is to pay my mortgage off.
Pull you back, can't it? If you're constantly reaffirming it in your mind, We were talking about this in the drive, but a big thing for Stu and I is to consolidate all of our property and pay our mortgage off, right? It's not the best use of the money. No. There's loads of better things I could do with that money. Yeah. But for me to own a home outright is so important to me. Yeah, so I'm always moving away from that, and I always will be. Yeah. And I think that's why when I hit 1 million, it didn't feel as good as
making £99 because I thought if I can make £99 for an hour's work, I'm never going to be in that position again. Well, it's as simple as that.
I don't think, well, some people have, but you don't trip over $1 million, do you? There's a run up towards it. But if you compare £99 to someone back then, that's a fucking £1 million to them in
it was
value.
£1 million for me. It felt better than the £1 million because I just thought, because then the possibility was there, because if I can make £99 in an hour, which is still a load of money, like even now, let's not get it twisted. £99 an hour is good money, right?
Yeah. I know. What's minimum wage now? Is it about
I don't 11? Know, Megan's on it. I don't know, about
12 quid.
12 quid maybe. So it's good money, right?
Yeah.
But to earn £99 from home, talking on the internet, where I've not got to get my kids looked after, I don't have to leave my house.
Yeah.
I was like, I've won the lottery.
Did you do the newsreader? Like underpants under the desk and a blouse on top.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell is this? Yeah. Like this is unbelievable. And but the thing is, you said you made a commitment to never be that bad there again. But I also made a commitment to make sure if I got out of this, I'd make sure other people came with me.
Right, a mission.
And that crippled me for a long time in my business.
What do you mean?
Because the first 5 years in business was just all about saving me.
Right.
So everything I learned, I was like, let me find another broke person and help them.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I was in this real rescue mode. I was like, I was like, so all my messaging, all my content, consistently was, I was broke, now I'm not. I can show you how it is. If you're broke, come to me, I will help you. Right. So what I did is I attracted, so Daniel Priestley said this to me I had a one-to-one with him, and he said, Helen, you've done so well because you've made over £1 million in one of the hardest industries, which is training and education, to the hardest audience, which is broke people. Yeah. You've been selling to broke people because your messaging is, I was broke, I was in debt, now I'm not. This is how I did it. You can do it too. But I was attracting all these people who were like, I can't feed my kids. I tell my story. I get all these DMs. Like I was in the magazine, Fabulous magazine, and my Instagram just blew up out all these. And it was, I remember I was in a caravan holiday. I do love a caravan holiday. With the kids, and I was just sat there with tears running down my face, got all these sad stories in my DMs.
Right.
Women with no teeth, because they couldn't afford to get them done. Wow. With kids, like women with like in abusive relationships, women and they'd all seen this story and were like, can you help me? And I could.
This is my guru.
And the gift for me was I could, because I had all this free content, right? Yep. So I'm like, here's a free training, here's how you use LinkedIn. And absolutely have all the free stuff, but it's not a great business builder, because it's like, and those are some of my most loyal clients, right? Because I've helped them. But the driver for me was always like, if I can do this with nothing, because I went home from that shop and I opened up like the oldest laptop in the world, like dust coming off it, and it's like hamsters in it, getting it going. Yeah. And I Googled business networking and all this networking stuff came up. And I was like, well, nice one. How am I going to get to Warrington Golf Club at 6:30 in the morning? I've got 2 kids to get to school. This doesn't make sense. And it's £15. And I was like, £15?
Yeah.
Like that's packed lunches for the week.
Couple of days.
This is like, food, no, this is, and then I was like, stand up in front of people? I don't think so. So I was like, this is not for me. Yeah. And the next thing down was LinkedIn, like the biggest networking platform or whatever in the world. And I thought, well, this makes sense. I'll just use this. And the way I set up LinkedIn that day is the way I still teach it today. And that just allowed me to start my first business, which was social media. For small businesses.
What did you do on LinkedIn first then when you went there? What was it that you were...
Well, I set my profile up, but because I'd never learned how to set up a LinkedIn profile.
Right.
I'd never read a book on it or even heard of it. So I thought, this is like a landing page. So I need to write to my ideal client. I need to write to my client. So
you were already thinking and...
Well, it just made sense to me.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm going to ask to connect with my ideal client or clients. So what does my client want to see when they get here? So everyone else was setting up LinkedIn as a CV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, because they don't care about me. They care about what's in it for them. So I wrote it like
So the switch, sorry to break your flow, but you just thought of it as a sales page.
Yeah. Like a landing page.
Yeah. As opposed to...
CV, because I didn't know any different.
Because I'm not big on LinkedIn. I had to go on there. I don't even know how to use it, but people were using it as a CV.
Yeah, most people use LinkedIn as a CV. Well, they talk about who they are and how great they are and all the things that they've achieved.
Yeah.
It's like no one cares.
Okay.
So So what I did was like, right, because if I'm going to connect with local business owners in Warrington, what do they need to hear? So my first headline was something like helping local business owners in Warrington sell more and look better online using Facebook and Twitter.
Right.
£250 a month, 10 client spaces available. And I wrote my profile like to them. So I was like, are you a local business owner in Warrington? ? Do you feel frustrated? Everyone's doing social media and you don't really get it? ? Do you want to work with somebody who understands it? Because I'd use it for my other business.
What was your wheelhouse then? I don't want to go into full backstory here, but your wheelhouse then was...
I was a reflexologist and a massage therapist.
Right.
And I use social media to get clients.
Got you.
So I'd kind of learned how Facebook and Twitter works. And I thought, well, if I can do it for my business, I can do it for other businesses. And because I couldn't keep going out and rubbing strangers up for cash because I had the kids and split with my husband, right? And I was on my own in the evenings. So it was like, are you a business owner in Warrington? Do you feel frustrated that other people know all about social media and you don't understand it? Because this was obviously a long time ago. Do you want to work with somebody who gets it, who's done it for their own business? If so, I can help. And I never took a screenshot of it because I didn't obviously realise it'd be like an NFT for the future. But it was something like, I'm a business owner like you. I'm also a single mum and I need to have something that I can work from home. I'm going to charge £250 a month. I'm going to do 5 posts a week on Facebook and 10 posts a week on Twitter and hashtags and something else. Can't remember. I'm going to charge £250 a month for 10 clients. If this sounds of interest, send me a DM. And then I went and found every local business owner in Warrington I could find and asked to connect. That was it. And then they all started DMing me like, hi, Helen, this sounds great. Can I have one of your spaces? And I'd be like, hi, stranger, off the internet. Yeah, of course. And I got those 10 clients really quickly. And I was like, because £2,500 a month was life-changing for me. I was living on 25 quid a week.
Yeah, because you had a different value of things, didn't you? Yeah, that is months and months of...
£2,500 a month was life-changing for me. I was just like, what the hell? I remember getting my first letter from the accountant, my first accounts. And I think I've made something like, I think it's 58 grand net. And I remember thinking, what the fuck? I've dropped out of university. The most I'd ever earned in a job was 20 grand.
Yeah.
I was like, how is this even happening to me?
I was 6 quid short at the supermarket. How is this happening?
How is this happening? Yeah, within a year.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. But then when I met a random guy at the golf club and he said, you should teach this LinkedIn stuff. I was like, okay. And then I started teaching it. Then I was like, oh, this is next level shit. Like, but that's the opportunity for everybody.
So your LinkedIn training stuff come from a random guy at the golf club?
At the golf club, at that networking event that I couldn't afford to go to.
Do you not know who he is?
No, but if by the power of this podcast, he can identify himself, I owe that guy a pint.
If you're out there, we would like to connect with you. Reach out.
Yes, because he said to me, like, Helen, how are you getting all these clients? Because that social media agency, we grew it into like employer branding agency. So we used to do employer branding for big organizations, running Facebook ads and recruitment and stuff. And we had all these mega clients because I changed my headline and profile. So it's like helping HR directors hire better people faster using Facebook ads, 3 grand a month, 10 client spaces available. So I'd built into this big agency. I had 11 staff, nightmare, hated it. Big office, parking space, inspirational shit on the walls and all that, right? Yeah, I was living the dream. But I was miserable because I wasn't aligned because I hated having an office to go to and staff to worry about. Anyway, I went to this, I was much more confident then, I had more money. So I went to this golf club thing and he said, Helen, how are you getting all these clients? How are you working with PL Ports and XPO Logistics and Lakeland Plastics? And I said, they all come to me on LinkedIn. And he said, no, that's not how LinkedIn works. He's like, what's your DMing strategy? Like, what's this or what's that? And I was like, no, this is what I do. And I got a napkin and I said, this is it. You do your headline and profile like this. And then you add people every day who fit your ideal client profile, and you put out content every day. These 4 pillars: stories, video, social proof, call to action. And you do your engagement every day. So you put out comments on other people's posts every day. So more people see your headline, more people click on it and come back to your profile.
Got you.
He went,
Don't know about that.
Don't know about that.
Yeah.
I went, okay, random man in a cheap suit in a golf club. No, he was lovely. But he was just like, no, he said, I've got 10,000 people on LinkedIn. I've been on there for years. I've never had a client on there. That's not how it works. And I was like, well, that's how it works for me. And
so circling this back to consistency then.
Yeah.
Because, we've gone down a bit about...
Let me just finish that story, though.
Yeah, no, go on, yeah, sorry.
Because this is the end of it. So a couple of weeks later, we came back to the event.
Right.
And he was like, Helen, guess what? And I was like, what, random man? And he's like, I got a lead. And I was like, yeah, I know, that's how it works. And he said to me, you don't understand. You should teach this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I put out my first £99 offer in Dan's group. I did three for free.
Brilliant.
And I did 3 people. One of them was Phil Harrison. One was Dino. And
was it Dan's Free Shit Friday?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did my first 3 and people were just like, and Phil Harrison said to me, you don't understand how good this is. This ideal client work. He said, nobody does ideal client work like this.
Yeah.
He said, it's unbelievable. You should teach this.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, okay. And then, went on to make millions of pounds. But it's all through that whole process, I never stopped showing up because I was moving away from, because what I realized is the more I showed up, the more money I made.
Yeah.
And I was so motivated by money and still am, that like, I couldn't believe it. This is the opportunity, really. I think we lose this as entrepreneurs. It's like, you post on the internet, people give you money. It's a fucking cash machine for your life, not even for your business. It's like literally, you've got this opportunity right in front of you that's completely free. You just got to commit to it and show up like getting paid millions of dollars, and eventually you are. It's like fucking magic.
I think if ever there was we could dig into consistency all day long and break it apart and look at the psychological behaviors and the yin and the yang, but how you've just summarized it there in the most succinct way, it's like, if you go on the internet and post shit, you make money.
Why wouldn't you be consistent?
Yeah.
Why would you let having a bad day get in the way of that? What is more important? You lying in bed and feeling sorry for yourself, or lying in bed and doing some posts, I'm not saying you've got to be fucking showbiz, show pony all day, every day. It's not practical. It's not normal. Life is up and down. There's some terrible things happen with me in the background, just like they do with everybody. But you can't see from the outside, because my desire to never be broke again outweighs my desire to not bother today every single day in every single way. I would never let myself down like that. And I'd do everything for that woman in the car outside the shop.
There's a question for you. Do you think you'd have the drive and the desire and actually would have put the work in at the level that you had if that wasn't such a uncomfortable, whatever, painful struggle?
Well, the answer is I don't know.
You don't know, no.
But having worked with tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, I'd say it definitely has an impact.
Right.
You got to be driven. And people always say, I'm not motivated by money. And I was saying, bullshit. We're all motivated by money. That's how the world works.
It goes back, is it a hobby or is it a business?
Yeah.
If it's business, it's profit.
I am very motivated by money. Money makes me very happy, And even though we started off with episode 1 talking about how making $1 million made me feel a certain kind of way, but it didn't make me feel ecstatic. It didn't make me feel sad. I was very happy and proud and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And it's the things that money gives us and all that jazz. Yeah. Right. But you have to be consistent before the money comes. It's almost like, I'm going to wait till the money starts coming and then I'm going to be consistent. It's like, it doesn't work that way. In employment, you get the money first, basically. And then you got to do the job. In self-employment, you got to do the job and the money comes. It's like, if you want to get this 10 grand a month, you got to show up like you're getting paid 10 grand a month, even when you're not. Because that's how you get to it, And
there's a thing
I just find it weird that people would not want to be consistent.
Yeah. There's a thing about confidence with that, isn't there? It's something like show up and the confidence comes, or...
Yeah, exactly.
It's something just, like that. I forgot what it is.
Sometimes you just got to grind it out, though, you know, and accept that, people are surprised when I say I've had more things fail than I've had fly. I've put more posts out that nobody's commented on and more posts out that nobody's bought from than I have when they have. But my job is not to worry about what's happening. My job is to worry what I'm doing. And that's the thing I can control. Am I showing up every day? Yeah. And my friends say this to me that, oh my God, you were like crying with me. And then I turn my phone on and you're like, hi, here I am. And it's like, I was like, yeah, because that's business. That's show business. Like, I'm the show pony for my business. I am the golden goose. If I don't perform, none of us get fed. So it's kind of like, that's the commitment, People don't not go on stage because they're having a bad day when there's a matinee on. It's show business. You do your job.
But that's not you being fake either, is it? That's you going, right, okay, I was just crying with a friend, but now I'm going to try and reset. I'm going to get myself back to...
Yeah, now I would reconnect. Then I was just like, shit, I'm just going to go for it.
Because I think the thing I'm hearing here is that you're going to show up anyway because the drivers behind them are what's the key, aren't they? That's what's really driving, and they're important. They're not just like, oh, show up because it's good for your business. It's not like this. I don't
show up for the money. I show up for the money. That's a lie. I show up for the money now.
Yeah.
Could I stop and still have a lovely life? Yeah. So I'm not in that, if I don't show up, I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. You know what I mean? I've got other things going on and I've got a lovely husband and all the rest of it. And, you know, when I've got no mortgage, then maybe I won't want to show up, but because I won't have that driver. But I show up because I love the game.
Yeah.
I love the game. I love the magic, and it never gets old. That I can show up online and then I can just, somebody will just drop into my inbox who's a beautiful soul, who wants my help, who wants to give me some money, and I can take the money and I can deliver an amazing service to them.
Yeah.
And they're happy and I'm happy. To me, that's like, it's a magical, joyous, life affirming thing. So why wouldn't I be consistent? There's no negatives to being consistent.
Yeah.
And people who might look at me and say, well, it's different for you, or it's easy for you. I always say when I'm doing a live, sometimes I'm like, give me your it's easy for you statement when you look at me. Well, it's easy for you because you're dead confident. It's easy for you because you've been doing it for years, or it's easy for you because you've had all this success. And give me your it's hard for me because statement. Well, it's hard for me because I've got little kids, or it's hard for me because I haven't got the confidence. So it's like, I've heard it all, But what I'm doing is what I'm doing for me. You need to be focusing on what you're doing for you. So if you've got it's easy for you and it's hard for me statements, then fine. Like they're your truth, you know? But if you want to hit that target we talked about right at the beginning, you've got to make a commitment to showing up for your business.
Sure.
Clarity and focus is step one, but showing up and being committed to that is definitely step two. And I think if we're looking at spirituality and strategy and how the soul level and below the line supports above the line, the consistency is led from above the line. This is about doing. This is about physically getting your phone out your pocket and writing a post, even if it's a one-liner, even if it's just a picture of your offer, even if it's just, I don't feel like posting today, but I'm posting anyway because Helen Tudor told me consistency is important and I've committed to showing up every day, even if I don't know what to say, even if I don't feel like it, and that's your post, you know? I say that, I say, tag me in. If you can't think of anything to post, just tag me in. So listen, like, for our lovely listeners, you can post right now. So this is your homework. Go to social and say, I've not been consistent with my business. I've just listened to Helen Tudor. Please tag me in. And this is my post. That's it. You know, I think people think I've got to be consistently fantastic. I've got to be consistently a great copywriter. I've got to be consistently writing amazing content that wows people. No, you just got to be consistently showing up. And if showing up is like, I don't feel like showing up today, that's still showing up. If it's sharing a post that you've seen that made you laugh, that's still showing up. If it's just putting literally like, this is what I said about this picture. So I have images of my offers, because if I can't think of anything else, or I'm feeling, you know, I'm not feeling creative, or something bad's happening, or I'm not well, I've got loads of other stuff going on, I will just put it on my stories. I'll put it on my post. Just for context, what you're referring to there is there's a picture of you, the sort of a graphic designer has put together. And it's nice, like, and simple. Here's my offer. This is what it is, and this is how much it is. It's got a picture of me on it. So I've been doing that since day one. You've posted a few of them during December, actually. So, I did, build up to Christmas, family is busy, all of that. You know. Well, that's it. It's like, well, it's MVP. I'm lying on the sofa watching Christmas films, eating chocolate. So I'm like, I need to post. So I just post the picture of the thing. And that's it. And sometimes I think you'll find by going and doing the minimum, you'll feel inspired to do a little bit more and a little bit more. And I think being consistent is not about writing perfect content. Being consistent is about showing up when you don't feel like it. And you can, for want of a better phrase, hack, but following your processes, you can actually spend 2 or 3 minutes tune in, and that consistency will feel a lot less restrictive, a lot less resistance. You'll actually probably feel the other end. You'll actually think, God, I really want to say something. This person's waiting for me, so to speak. You know? Exactly. And when you make it about them and not about you, it's like, I've got to show up today for them, for my other clients. So one of the things that really helps me when I'm not feeling it is somebody somewhere needs to hear what I've got to say. So it's not about me and how I feel.
Yeah, it's almost like from a place of service almost.
It is from a place of service, yeah. And it's like, for example, recording this podcast, like right now I am physically ill.
You're on death's door. Right?
I'm on death's door. I'm not well. There's a million reasons not to be doing this right now, but I've shown up for it because I made a commitment. For my business that I'd record my podcast. Yeah. But I also made a commitment that I'd be in service to my client. So I have to record this right now so that my lovely listener can listen to it right now.
Yeah.
So that's what helps me when I'm feeling, when it starts to become about me and how I'm feeling, is getting into my client's energy and how they're feeling, what they need from me. Just
for the benefits of the listeners, by the way, because I said this morning, you're quiet.
Yeah.
You're just, and I have a problem with that, by the way. I'm just like, you're just finding yourself because you're about to do a podcast. So you want to censor yourself and stuff. But I said, you all right? You're quiet. He's like, yeah, just like my calls moved to my head now and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I sat here, and for the benefits of that, I sit across you, I look at you, and you look at me, and you smile, and I go, you ready? You go, oh, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Let's go, yeah. I'm just like, we were just over there a minute ago. And But you get caught up in a thing. But what I'm trying to say to the listeners is she's doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
I embody my work. Yeah.
She's doing it. But hats off to you for doing it, because this is evidence of it.
It's evidence, but it's also a story that I can tell in the future because it's a dramatic demonstration of showing up when you don't feel like it, physically, mentally, emotionally. There's a million reasons not to be here, but I'm here because I committed to it for my business, but also for my client. And I think that's the level of commitment I feel like we should all have for our businesses, whether you've got financial stability or not, because the money is great and it's all a bonus now, but it's the client who needs me.
What's your views on accountability?
So we get asked about this a lot, like
because it's related, right? The reason I'm asking it.
So I'm a big fan of radical self-accountability.
Yeah.
And again, people are like, it's all right for you because you do it. And it's like, well, I do it because it's a choice, right?
Yeah.
Nobody is coming to save you. No one is coming to save your business. No one's coming to, hold your hand and do it for you. I do sometimes feel like that's my 100K offer though. I will come to your house and I will get you out of bed and I will sit with you and make you do your content all day, every day. And I will stop you changing. That's one thing I did want to talk about was consistency in offer.
Consistency in offer.
Yeah. Right. So what big problem I see over the years with all the thousands of entrepreneurs is that if something's not working straight away, they change it.
Right. In the offer.
Yeah. So they put it out there for a bit, no one buys it, and they go, right, that's crap.
It's broken.
Yeah, it's broken. It's me. It's the wrong ideal client. It's the wrong price. It's the wrong offer. And they start messing with it. Or they burn it all to the ground and do something completely different. And I call this like sort of flip-flopping from one to the other.
Okay.
And what that does is it from the outside, I feel, and you can do what you want. You run your business however you want. So this is just my thoughts.
I think I know what you're going to say here, but go on.
I think from the outside, it makes people feel insecure and unsure about who you are and what you stand for and how you can help them, which is terrible for business.
Like a lack of certainty in what you put out 2 days ago and now it's something else.
Yeah. So as much as you've got radical responsibility and you can do what you want, you run your business your way. So that's kind of like caveating it with that.
Yeah.
I say this as someone who talked about LinkedIn for 10 years, and didn't waver. I've only just changed to ideal client.
Yeah. Picked a lane and bang.
Picked a lane, a pointy end. And all the stuff I do was all at the back end. Now I'm pushing the ideal client to the front, but it's still a pointy end and LinkedIn is at the back now. But you see what I mean? It's not that I don't do those things. I've just changed the order that I represent them to the outside world.
Yeah, got you.
And I think what I see a lot of is people giving up far too soon, too early, or being really, it's almost like selfish, but I don't want to, I get bored easy. I get bored talking of the same thing all the time. And I just think, wow, I've talked about the same thing so many times in so many different ways that but I never really got bored of it. So sometimes I think, well, maybe you are on the wrong track, because if you are bored that quickly, like I said, I did a LinkedIn training the other day. I've been doing it for 10 years. It's going to be probably been my last one ever. And I still loved it. Yeah. And part of me was like, wow, you stop doing this because you love it, you know. And I think if you really, truly don't love it and you're bored of it, then maybe it is time to change. But just be aware that every time you change, you've got to change the whole ecosystem. New ideal client, new offer, new sort of positioning.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big deal. Like I'm in the middle of it right now and it is a big deal. But I see this, it's almost like putting your foot out there a little bit and then bringing it back in because it didn't give you everything you wanted straight away.
Yeah, they're not all, I don't know how I feel about that all-in phrase. I just think commitment.
Commitment and consistency to the offer as well as to the showing up.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like you show up every day with a different offer. It's like, what is this person? Who is this person? What do they do?
Yeah, I think
confuses your audience, I'd say.
Yeah, I was just going to say confusion.
And confuses you, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, who am I and what am I doing and what am I selling today? And I've definitely fallen foul of that myself.
It's a little bit like
I've put out multiple different offers and I've confused myself and my audience.
It's not the same, actually. I was going to say, it's like, you know, when you buy like the $7 ebook, but before you can make the purchase, you're on the 99 and then the 999 and then the 2999. It's like, oh God, hang on. The $7 one was the all singing, all dancing sales page that was going to solve all the problems in my life. Why do I have to spend the $3,000 now, you know? But yeah, I think that the consistency side of things, I think what it does to your audience is it erodes a little bit of trust or it delays it. A little bit, you know. And
it almost like restarts it.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, okay, you're this person now, cool.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you're this person again. So it's almost like you're always restarting that authority piece and that influence piece. Yeah. Whereas for me on LinkedIn, it just become irrefutable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't follow any other LinkedIn people, so I'm sure there's lots of other great ones out there making millions. Don't get me wrong, but in my world, I always say like I'm niche famous. Yeah. In my world, if anyone said LinkedIn, I got all the tags, you know? And that was because of 10 years of consistency.
I clicked on some of yours once on Facebook and then I had relentless LinkedIn ads in Facebook. You know, coming through from other people doing your stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's not my stuff, but
do you know what I mean? It was LinkedIn training is what I mean.
Yeah.
On the consistency thing, just one last little thing I think will help people is, I think we have this know, like, and trust thing, and I think some people just skim over it. My thoughts are this: you can really only control the no, because that's you showing up, being consistent, etc., being clear. Being certain in who you are. The liking is their job, but the trust, this is how I got to this. I think trust is a gift that they give us. They say, here's my trust, please don't shit on it, you know, don't dishonor it or whatever. So it's a gift, it's not earned, we don't earn it, but also the path to it, I believe, and I think this circles this nicely, is whether they will give you that or not is based on how true you are, if you're truthful. And that means that if you are going to show up, it's not that you say the truth, it's the truth of who you are as you show up consistently daily. Is this person someone I can depend on, rely on? Are they always there? Are they kind of omnipresent? It's the behavior as much as the words you say, which is the truth of you. Yeah. And then the truth is the path to trust. They will then extend that as a gift, rather than us trying to sort of manipulate trust or inspire trust or cajole trust out of them. It's like, no, it's a gift, just don't dishonor it. And that's probably why your consistency is why the way you describe your DMs, this lovely person lands in my DMs, Mark, and I'm like, oh my God, like, how is this happening? And they're asking to buy, you're not having to then go, right, how the fuck am I going to go through this sales process? You know?
No, I don't sell to anybody in my DMs. Yeah. They sell themselves to me as a client.
Which is living, breathing testament to, you know.
Well, otherwise I would be a complete fraud, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I teach. Yeah. And that's the outcome I want for everyone. I want everyone to have that experience of people in their DMs wanting to buy from them who are the perfect clients and make their life. Beautiful. That's the outcome, you know. That's what I sell. That frictionless process where people are coming to buy because they're already sold. They've been sold through that content and showing the consistency of you showing up. But I think just briefly about the flip-flopping, which I know will trigger a lot of people and, you know, lots of love. Because
on offer. This is
on offer.
Yeah.
Because you can choose and do what you want. So like I've got a caveat with that. But I think we can evolve. I think evolution is normal. Yeah. And I think people, audience, if you like, and from a marketing point of view, evolution is very acceptable and people will come with you. But complete changes, like
sharp.
Yeah, sharp. It's
jaggy.
like it's jarring. It's like, oh, I thought you were the, so for me, evolving from the LinkedIn person to the ideal client, it feels like an evolution.
Yeah.
If I'd said, right, this is one of my dreams, but if I was going, right, I'm not doing LinkedIn anymore, I've opened up a burrito bar that's staffed fully by people coming out of care, like, that would have been my thing. And that,
like a cafe, Helen.
I know, yeah. So it's kind of like, and that's okay, I can do that, but it's a sharp shock.
Yeah,
and a lot of my people would be like, okay, that's not for me anymore, and that's fine. And you have to build up the burrito bar audience. But
you can do that.
Flopping.
But it's going to be different, isn't it? It's
you've got to accept you're sort of resetting the clock. Yeah.
And I think on that, so because you've got a big audience, you got a lot of people follow you in different groups and different channels and whatnot.
I've got a great audience. I love them all daily.
Because this is an evolution, a sort of a slight change in where you're going. It's not jarring and jagged like a burrito bar. So there's elements of your audience there that will enjoy and appreciate that slight pivot. In fact, it might resonate more with them.
Well, my experience has been, everyone's been like, I've been waiting for this. In fact, nearly all the people in my DMs are people from 10 years ago who have almost been waiting for me to drop LinkedIn so they can buy this thing from me, because they're like, I don't want to do LinkedIn. And you've been doing it. I've watched you do it all these years and I think you're great and I love you as an entrepreneur. But now I've got a chance to work with you on something that's really relevant to me. So actually it's been great. Some really, really top draw people who I love dearly, I've known for years, who are like, let's do it, Yeah.
But you can change if you want.
You can change. Yeah. You don't have to do anything forever. Permission to do what you want. But I'll just be aware that there's consequences.
Absolutely.
If you're going to change your offer every week, there's going to be consequences to that.
There's a price to it.
Yeah, there's a price to it. And as long as you're prepared to deal with that, then fine. But just be aware that consistency in the way you show up and what you show up to sell is going to be a smoother, easier ride that's more cumulative and is compounding than if you're going to chop and change all the time. So that might resonate with somebody.
Cool.
If it does, let me know. If you love it, send me a DM. If you hate it, send me an email, because I don't read those.
Or someone else does.
Yeah, someone else reads emails.
Let's not show her this one. I'm going to email you now.
I don't read any of the support emails unless it's a lot of love and then they'll send me a screenshot. But if it's hate, I don't see it.
I'm going to start trolling you in your emails.
Gillian's used to it, don't worry.
Is this you, Mark?
Yeah, exactly. She's used to it.
Okay, cool. So anything to add to wrap up our episode on consistency?
Not really. Just commit to it and, think about why you're doing it. When the days get hard, think about why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Remember what you're moving away from and also what you're moving towards, and have that where you can see it. So have that written down or a picture, images, where you can see it.
Yeah.
So that when you feel like not showing up today, you remember why you're doing it.
Yeah. And a nice get out of jail free is just have something as the minimum viable product to post. Just a screenshot. I don't know what to say. I've seen posts where say, I don't know what to say today. That's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen quite long posts on that. I'm for someone who didn't know what to say, there's 500 words.
Once you get started.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, that's a wrap.
Lovely. Thanks, Miles.